Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode number 139 of the Chris Rose Rotation, a production of John Boy Media, and today presented to you by our good friends over at SeatGeek. And it's been a while since I've chopped it up with this guy. Known him for an awfully long time. He is a 2008 World Series champion. He's a former Rookie of the Year. He's a former league MVP, and now he's just kicking it and doing a bunch of other things. Let's find out what Ryan Howard is up to. How are you, my friend?
Man, I'm doing well, Rosie. Doing well, man. Always a pleasure to be in your presence, my friend.
Oh, you stop that now. You stop that now. Although I'm sure you barely recognized me with the...
I saw it. I was like, I saw there's some stuff that was going on over there. I like it.
Yeah,
I got to get a little Scruff McGruff going.
Yeah, I got to get rid of it soon. I'm gonna call the Browns preseason games, and I don't want to look like I'm on the run or anything. So I got to clean it up a little bit. But that's all right. It'll be back next season.
Like you came straight from the dog pound, just up into the booth.
Hey, believe me, listen, you know me, I'm a Cleveland guy. So we had season tickets. We did not have them in the dog pound. My parents would not let me sit there. They would not let me. You didn't. You're too young. You're not even 40 yet, are you?
I am 40. I'm 42.
Oh, okay.
Don't let this move taste fool you, bro.
All right.
Yeah, I grew up with the original, like the St. Louis Cardinals, like the Vi Sikahema, like what was it? Neil Lomax.
Yeah. Roy Green,
all those guys. And then once the Rams, the greatest show on turf, came to town, was watching those guys as well. But my team now, man, is the Eagles. So I'll still follow the Rams. Happy for the Rams to have done what they did, but like I follow the Eagles more so now.
Yeah,
and the Bears, and the Bears, because when the Cardinals left, the next closest team we had was the Bears.
Oh,
so like Walter Payton, the Fridge, Mike Singletary, all those guys. Grew up watching those guys.
So let me ask you this: when the Eagles and Bears played in the playoffs a few years
ago,
okay.
Eagles, yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. Where are you these days? I don't even know where you live.
I'm in Atlanta, man. So in Atlanta. So right now, we've been renovating our house and doing all that good stuff. So I'm in my wife's office and trying to get this whole thing situated. So we just moved in about a couple weeks ago. So getting these kids ready for school and hitting the ground running.
How old are the kids?
So my son is going into his senior year at LSU. So he's about to get ready to head back down there in another week or so. And then 3 girls. The oldest, Ariana, is about to turn 8 in November. Lexi, Alexandria, we call her Lexi, is about to turn 6 in October. And then Amara, the baby, is about to turn 3 the end of this month. Yeah, man. Yeah.
You are.
They're gonna make me have to come out of retirement or something.
Yeah.
Try to pay for these weddings in the future. But then again, like people are paying for their own weddings because they don't want their parents to have to try to dictate what's what. And I'm all for it. Hey, tell me where to be when I need to be there. And,
listen, man, you know the deal with parenting. Just be supportive. That's all. That's all we're here. That's it. So what's your son doing? This is it. Like what's he into? What's he want to do?
Yeah, so he's going to school. He's going to try and see about he out of high school, he went and played some JUCO ball. Had a pretty decent year. COVID obviously came in and kind of disrupted a lot of things for a lot of people. But after his second year at JUCO, he decided he just wanted to go to kind of 4-year school. Always, loved LSU and is currently down there, about to head into his senior year. I think he's going to want to try to see if he can have an opportunity to try to walk on the baseball team down there, because he still has that. I believe he still athletically would be considered a sophomore down there due to COVID. So, see how it goes and go from there. But he's doing sports business, kind of sports management. I told him like, hey, if you can't be the dude on the field, try to be the architect behind putting the guys on the field. So, going to school for that, and he's enjoying himself.
That's awesome. Good to hear. So I saw you earlier this year when St. Louis made its one and only stop in Philadelphia, and you were like the welcoming and the goodbye committee for one Albert Pujols.
Yeah, man.
I love this shot of you two giving the big old bear hug.
That's
And
it.
for a St. Louis kid, how special was this?
So, I mean, beyond. He's sitting over here clapping for me. It's the other way around. First off, that man has monster grip. For it's like I couldn't breathe, bro. But the funny thing about it is that when I first kind of started out, the story kind of goes back to when I was in the minor leagues in New York Penn League. We had a guy who was the manager for that squad. I think it was the New Jersey Cardinals at the time, and he grew up and lived in St. Louis. And he came over to me after the series, and he said, "Hey, Ryan, like if you're back in St. Louis and you need a place to work out and hit, like I throw to a couple guys, come on over." So I was like, "Sure, hit him up, come back in." I show up Maryville University in St. Louis, and it's Mike Matheny, John Mabry, and Albert. So like I'm like, wait, I'm just this kid, my first year in the minor leagues, and I'm coming in and I'm hitting with like bona fide, major leaguers, and being able to watch Albert like live and in person, like doing his thing, and being able to just kind of sit back and be a little bit of a fly on the wall and just learn from watching him and kind of asking different questions. But I mean, I'll let you know right now, it was a different sound coming off of Albert's bat. Because you get that, you got minor league wood, you got big league wood, and you got Albert wood. So it was like it was super loud coming off of his bat.
Because you were from St. Louis, and I mean, you guys ended up playing on multiple all-star teams together and same position and all sorts of stuff. Did you guys, develop a relationship?
Oh yeah, I mean a little bit, yeah. I mean, because we would come in and hit and do all that kind of stuff. I mean, for the most part, it was me being in Philadelphia for the most part, and then I was there maybe a couple years, my first couple years in the big leagues, and then wound up moving and getting a place in Florida, and just kind of stayed there more majority of the time. So not as much as we probably could have or should have, but I mean the respect was always there on the field, and then just being able to kind of chop it up with them, when we were hitting and doing all that kind of stuff. Definitely. So I told him there too. I was like, bro, we need to get up. Like when you're gonna have plenty of time, so we need to get up like after the season and all that kind of stuff, and just like hook up and all that.
Well, everybody remembers Albert's amazing start to his career, but you come up and you rock the world too your first few seasons. I mean, you win Rookie of the Year, then we're hitting 58 homers, we're winning an MVP. So you go Rookie of the Year, MVP. What was it like being Ryan Howard at the top of the world then?
Oh, it was fun. I mean, it was fun. I mean, coming in, because I don't think people really knew like what was going to happen. So obviously the Phillies, I was drafted 2001. Phillies go and they signed Jim Thome in 2002. So I'm going into my first full minor league season heading to Lakewood, New Jersey. And I get the news, and the fan in me was like, "Oh, damn, like the Phillies just signed Jim Thome. Like, that's cool." And then the player in me was like, "Damn, they just signed Jim Thome." So, so I had to, kind of dig in the crates with something my old sophomore baseball coach told me. He's like, "Hey, you can either focus on shoulda, coulda, wouldas, or put your energy into what you need to do in order to get to where it is you want to be." So, I understood Thome was there. My goal was still to get to the big leagues, whether it was with the Phillies or with somebody else. And I knew at that time I wasn't going to be rushed, because Thome was there and he just signed a 6-year deal. So, for me, it was just a matter of like taking my time developing and, getting the opportunity to try to force their hand when I could. And then obviously getting the opportunity when Thome got hurt in 05, the second time, just taking advantage of it, knowing I was going to be up there the whole rest of the year. And I didn't know too many teams that would usually send a guy that wins Rookie of the Year back to AAA the following year. So I knew that they were going to have to do something. They was going to either have to trade me or trade Thome. So the only thing you could do when you get those opportunities for those guys that are out there is just take advantage of it. Sometimes it has to come when somebody else goes down, but when you get that opportunity to showcase your ability, you got to take it.
I think he was traded for Aaron Rowan, right?
Burrell, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So when they trade him, an established star in this league, instead of you, was there pressure that built up, or what was it?
No, it was funny because kind of going back to it, 2005, the second time that Tommy got hurt, like one of the reporters had said kind of a similar question where they said, hey, you're having to come in and replace Jim Tomei. Like, is there any pressure? Those are some big shoes to kind of fill. And I said, well, no, because I'm not Jim Tomei. I said, I'm me. And I said, if I do what I'm capable and I know I'm capable of doing, I think we'll be just fine. So, I didn't ever try to be Tom. I just went out there and was myself and let it just do what it did.
But you knew you were joining a franchise and an organization that only won one World Series. It's not like it was an expansion team. Like, this is one of the ancient clubs in the history of it.
Right.
So finally, we have some success. We make the playoffs. All that sort of stuff doesn't exactly go the way you guys want it. And then 2008 goes. At what point were you like, we're fucking winning this thing? I know.
Oh, you know what? It's funny because like Jimmy and I had a conversation. So after 2007, when Jimmy made the announcement of like, hey, I think we're the team to beat. And then we catch the Mets, we win the division for the first time in however long, make the playoffs, and then get boat raced by Colorado, who just went undefeated basically the second half of this, like the entire month of September. I think one of the things that when we won the division and made it to the playoffs, I felt like, man, I think we're celebrating a little bit too hard. It was almost like that was our World Series that we won and got over the hump. And then fast forward, getting boat raced by Colorado. So I think the next year in spring training, like Jimmy and I remember doing batting practice, because that's all you do in spring training is stand around, is basically we were just having a conversation. And we were just kind of like, dude, why not us? Like, why can't we win? And I think that group, after understanding what it was like to be able to get a taste of the playoffs the year before, because I'm not gonna lie, like I thought like, oh, when you hit the ball, it's gonna explode, confetti's gonna come out, like this whole thing, you just don't know, what to expect. But then it's just you're one of however many teams that are left. Yeah, things get a little bit more amplified, all that, but you still are playing the exact same game. So I think once we got that taste under our belt, it was like the following year, we just kind of put the pedal to the metal, and then the rest was history.
So you were blessed to be able to play in just one uniform, one big league uniform.
Mm-hmm.
When did you know that Philly was a different town?
I mean, I'd always heard about it.
When did you feel it?
I mean, as soon as I stepped in, it was growing up in the Midwest. It was like, obviously it was a completely different type of speed than it was in the Midwest, but you would hear just, oh, Philly's so tough. They threw batteries at Santa Claus. They do this and blah, blah, blah. So you understand, like, as you're coming through the minor leagues, like what it is. And then you also understand it's just all about the effort that you give as well. It's a blue collar town. They want a blue collar effort. Like, everybody's going to go in there. They're going to mess up or whatever. But as long as you're going out there playing hard, you try to use it as a motivation and not to be broken down. It's not for the faint of heart. It's not. But, I've always told people, I was like, if you can play anywhere in the Northeast to kind of start your career, whether it's Philly, Baltimore, New York, whatever, Boston, you can pretty much go anywhere after that. And I think you'll be all right.
But were there days where you went home and you were like, oh my God, this baseball's hard enough as is, but it's hard when.
Oh yeah. I mean, look, towards the end of my time there, yeah, it was hard. I mean, things weren't going well. Like, team wasn't playing well. I had been hurt and coming back, and then wasn't playing as well as I would want to play. I mean, yeah, they're going to let you know it. I mean, there was times where when we were going good, it was a football town first and foremost. So it's like, even if we're winning games, you're still hearing Eagles chants, throughout Citizens Bank Park. And you're just kind of like, what do we have to do? It's once we won, the Eagles chants kind of subsided. But, you would get an occasional Eagles chant, like if the game wasn't going very well and all that kind of stuff. But, it's just understanding where you are. So, I mean, it's one of those places where the fans can be so passionate to where when it's going good, it's one of the best places to ever play. I mean, when it's not going so well, yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, teams can come in and they can sit there, and sometimes it's wait for the home team to make the mistake. And then all of a sudden the fans turn on the home team, and now it makes it easier for the visiting team. So it's just understanding. I always say it's the city of brotherly love, right? Like, you fight with your brother, you yell at your brother, and at times you hate your brother or whatever, but you get over it. And then at the end of the day, you love your brother. So it's like you kind of go through the rigmarole of it all. The biggest thing is just don't take it personal. It's just the fans with their passion. Sometimes the passion can be a little misplaced, but at the end of the day, they love their teams. They love their players. Sometimes they just have a little bit more of an aggressive way of going about showing that love.
Well, the game has obviously changed significantly in terms of guys being able to move around and things of that nature. You kept almost an entire infield together for over a decade between you and Chase and J-Roll. We've had Jimmy on the show. I've always loved the way he's handled the media for the most part. I think he's just been spot on with a lot of his stuff. But were there ever times where he would open his mouth and be like, shit, Jimmy, really?
You know what? Again, I'm one of those guys to where it's like, who the person is. So, I mean, obviously, if Jimmy's saying what Jimmy's saying, that's because that's what Jimmy feels. If Chase is saying what Chase is saying, that's because that's what Chase feels. And it's like understanding and knowing their characters. It's like, okay. Like when Jimmy made the comment of, hey, I think we're the team to beat in 2007. We hadn't won anything. We weren't close to doing anything, great or anything like that. But it's like, yeah, I should be confident in myself, my ability, and in my team. Like if I don't think that we're the team to beat, then why am I here? And so when Jimmy says that, it's like, okay, that's Jimmy. Like we know Jimmy. Jimmy was like the swag of our team. So, where Chase was more like, he was like that engine, and Shane was just sugar everywhere and just bouncing off walls. And, so it was like all the different, and that's my guy. I love my guy, Shane.
Oh yeah.
But he'll say, hey, that's the only person I could ever see that would eat like what is it, gummy bears and ice cream and all that kind of stuff, and it's like bouncing off the wall.
That's all we need to do is put more sugar in that guy's
exactly
diet,
exactly
right?
That's why they call him the Flying Hawaiian. You just give him some gummy bears and whatever kind of sugar, he's all over the place.
Dude, he couldn't make it through an interview sitting still. I'd be like, no. Shane, are you good? He'd be like, Rosie, I can't. Like, I got maybe 6 minutes for you, and then I gotta go.
Right. Yeah. That's right. That's about right. But you understood the dynamics and the chemistry, or I'm sorry, the characteristics of who the guys were. So when Jimmy comes out and he says something like that, it's like, all right, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you're probably right in terms of some of that stuff.
Was Burrell as weird as he seemed?
Oh my gosh. I mean, look, Rosie. Burrell is a special breed. And I love Pat. I do. It's like once you first meet him, you're like, dude, man, this guy is like, what's this guy's deal? Like, he's all over the place. But then the more you get to understand Pat, it's actually quite funny. I mean, he's a great guy. I mean, obviously, dare I say, the machine.
Stop.
I've seen the machine a few times in action. Yes. I mean, right there, Rosie, it answers your own question. With all I have to do is just say the machine. I could have just started and ended with that and left it there.
I needed a lot of therapy to get through that. I'm just telling you. I needed
baseball players are a different breed, man. We're all over the place.
Oh yeah, you are. That's what keeps you on your toes if you're in the media, man. Makes
That's
it
it.
fun. Makes it a lot of fun. Um, so I told you I had Jimmy on the show, and so I had to ask him, in my opinion, a very difficult question. So I want you to listen to his response here. Why did Ryan Howard catch the ball with two hands?
Oh my God.
Because one didn't always work. His hands were probably about like this, and I don't know if they made a glove big enough for him. So it was like he was literally catching the ball with his fingertips, and the web was only about that big. So I think he felt better doing this. And if you ask him, he'd always say my balls were moving, coming to him. They're sinking, they're cutting. And I'm like, I throw one of the, besides J.J. Hardy, probably one of the truest four-seamers over to first base. There are times I would bounce the ball over there, and I'm just like, oh, Lord, it's going to end up bad. And he'd pick it, and I'm like, oh, Ryan, I'm giving him props. And he throws it around, and the ball's in the left field. It's like, well, we still have work to do. But, hey, we start with the catch.
Oh, man. Oh, that's classic. All right. So where do I even start? First off,
Two hands.
Jimmy. So two hands. I don't even know what it was. It was, I don't know. I don't know if it was like Jamie Moyer was in the back of my mind or what. Because Jamie, if you've ever heard with pop-ups, you could probably hear it over the entire stadium. If there was a pop-up, Jamie Moyer is always yelling, two hands, two hands. Like either if he's on the bench, if he's in the game, two hands, two hands. I don't know. I just think like sometimes it would either just kind of get in my own head to where when I would get out, sometimes the ball would just either pop out of my glove. So I just wanted to make sure I secured it with two hands. The picks were clearly blackout moments that would take place. Jimmy does have he has a fairly good four seam ball. Sometimes he would just get and catch that seam and it would just go all over the place. But yeah, he has a pretty straight ball because he would go straight over the top. And obviously getting to play with Jay for a long time, I got to understand like certain balls in the hole, like what he was going to do before he did it, and always tried to give me like the good long hop on a ball that was deep in the hole. So I always knew like, hey, he was going to try to make it that way. Hey, I mean, you know what? Hey, play it safe. Because if I go out there one hand and drop it, my pitcher's got to throw another however many pitches. Hey, I'll take it. I got out there one-handed when I needed to get out there for the stretch. So, see, that was Panda running right here. You got know your runner. Know your runner. That's it. Know your runner. What's the rule, Rosie? Get the out.
Get the out. You're right.
Get the out. It ain't got to be pretty.
Nope.
Just get the out. It's like that Meta World piece. It's like that Meta World piece on our test game. It may be ugly, but effective. You know what I mean? It ain't got to be pretty. It's just got to be effective.
Let's see those hands, by the way. Is he right? Are they? Oh,
that's
God
it.
Dang.
Yeah, that's it.
You didn't need a mitt.
I'm catching balls one-handed now with my daughter's softball team, so we're good. I'm making up for it.
Are you coaching?
I am coaching. I am.
And how's that going?
Yeah. It was good. So we were doing coach pitch, and somehow I was nominated as the pitcher. And I mean, believe it or not, I mean, there was some dads that would struggle. I mean, I saw in underhand coach pitch, like they're hitting the kids. There was a game where I think it was like 3 or 4 girls got hit in coach pitch, underhand, soft. So, I think I might have made first team all coach as a pitcher.
It's a big deal.
So, yeah. So it's been fun, man. I've enjoyed it. My daughter's enjoyed it even more so. So I did learn that there's a draft that takes place at 7 years old. So you got to go out, you got to scout the girls and, get ready for draft day.
That gets intense.
It was. We had to make a trade. We had to make a trade first day. Yeah.
No. Yeah, you can't make trades.
If I wanted to come home, I did. Yeah. You got to make some trades.
Or you had to get best friends
be
on the squad.
And yeah, you're willing and dealing. Willing and dealing, Rosie.
Wait till
will and deal.
Wait, did they have like a a parent vote for the All-Star team? A parent coach's vote for the All-Star team? You do that
Do you
one
know
yet?
what there was some kind of a all-star, like postseason all-star thing, I think, where you could try out or whatnot for that. So I was like, hey, we're heading out of town, so that's probably not going to work out.
I'm warning you now, because at one point the Howard girls are probably going to want to play an all-star season during the summer.
Oh, yeah,
Those
yeah.
votes get nasty between parents. I've seen friendships broken because of it.
I believe it. I mean, looking at where just youth sports is now, because having kind of gone through it with my son when, he was 14, 15, 16, and just kind of how everything is about showcases now.
Horrible.
I mean, you see it. I mean, there was a kid that came in. We're playing in a perfect game tournament here in Georgia, and this kid just basically like came in, pitched, was hitting 92, 93. Kind of looked like it was max effort to me, but through about 3 innings, boom, grabbed his stuff and left. And I was like, yo, Jared, like, to the head coach, I was like, where's he going? He's like, oh, he just came in to pitch this game, and then he's out. I was like, wait, like, we don't even stay with the team anymore? Like, that's it? Just PJ it out of here? Go, they got the PJ for him or what? So it's an interesting animal with how the youth game is developing and all that kind of stuff, man. So it's there. I mean, there's a lot of talent out there. I mean, you just don't want it to get misplaced. You still want there to be that super competitive nature about it, because I think a lot of these kids will get to the point to where it's like, all right, let me go in here and see how hard I can throw and light up this radar gun, or how hard I can swing and do this and do that or whatever. And I think some kids may lose the thought process of wanting to actually go out and like win the game. It's like, hey, let me go get my 2 knocks, so this scout, this college coach, or whoever, can take note, so I can get to wherever. But I think it's still being able to instill, like, hey, we want to go out and win the game. We want to go and do the things that we need to do in order to win the game.
Guy who was a winner for you was Jamie Moyer. You already brought him up.
Yeah.
And dude could barely pitch fast enough to get pulled over in a school zone. Were there times where guys would get to first base and they'd be like, how are we not launching against this dude?
Moyer. So I always called him Moyer. This sounds, I like that, Moyer. It always seemed to be, whenever Jamie would face the Florida Marlins, it was either like feast or famine, to where I'd always talk to some of the guys like Cody Ross or Dan Ugla or whoever, Hanley, like if they got on base, and it was just like, bro, I'm like, I don't understand what's going on, because Jamie would go up and he would either just get lit up, or he would just carve them to pieces. And I would just look, like, one guy might walk or something, and I'd be like, dude, what's happening? He's like, I don't know what it is, but he's just absolutely filthy today. I was like, yeah, I mean, it looks like it. I haven't really got a whole lot of action down here. I'm not complaining or anything, but it's just one of those things where he had their number, and Jamie, just the consummate professional that he was just, I mean, he knew how to pitch. He was the epitome of a pitcher. He was that. He's not like the guys today where he was going to go blow you away, but everything that Jamie did there was a reason behind it. There was a reason why Jamie would step off the mound like in the middle of an at bat and just lob the ball in and get a new ball. And I would ask him about it, and he was like, yeah, I do that on purpose, because I throw the ball in like that to change the hitter's eye level. Because a lot of the times the hitters will watch the guy kind of throw the ball into the catcher to get a new ball. And it's like, if that guy will watch, he's changing their eye level by like lobbing it in. He'll do it 2 or 3 times. And then get his ball, get his pitch, and go make his pitch.
No
And so
idea on that one.
there's a method to the madness. Jamie was the mad scientist. There's a reason why he was in there playing for 47 years. So, I mean, there is a reason. Like, Jamie was amazing. He was just a wealth of knowledge. And again, two hands every time, fly ball. Like, I sometimes I would get panicked on balls that were next to the dugout because Jamie was yelling. And I would just be like, all right, don't mess this up. Don't mess this up. Two hands. Because Jamie's like right there. I was like, you want it? Are you calling me off? So, but yeah, I mean, Jamie was just a consummate professional and just would just, I don't know. There was a reason why he would have so much success.
You've always been like a big smiley teddy bear out there. Like, listen, we know you can mash, but was there ever a time where you got pissed at an opposing pitcher, player, wanted to charge the mound, anything?
I mean, yeah, I did get tossed out of, I think, of one game for sure. I don't know if it was two, but I did get tossed out of a game. I mean, the thing was with me was like, I stood so far off the plate.
You did.
That, if I got hit, it was like, then you really messed up. I don't think there was anybody who was intentionally hitting me. Actually, the story, like John Lannon, in his debut, I knew earlier in the game he was missing arm side up and in, and I remember I struck out my first at bat, and his family was there, and they were cheering, and I was like, y'all cheering a little bit too hard. So came up my second at bat, hit a homer to center off of him. And then I came up my third at bat, and he had hit Chase right in front of me, and then he hit me. And so the reporters asked, and he got tossed out. He got tossed out of the game in his debut. And so the reporters had asked me, like, if I thought it was intentional. I said no. I said he had been missing arm side up in the game, like earlier in the game, like multiple times. It's like, I don't think a guy is going to come and get tossed out in his major league debut type game, So, but yeah, I don't think there was ever anybody who tried to hit me on purpose.
So you guys had a great run, 5 straight division titles. You win it all in 2008. You make it to game 6 in 2009 before losing to the Yankees. Then you start to kind of retool your team a little bit, right? You bring in Roy Halladay. You trade for Roy Oswalt. You eventually bring in Papelbon. And I just had Papelbon on the show.
Oh, yeah. How'd that go?
It was all over the place. And to his credit, he answered everything. He answered everything.
Nice.
So nice. I want you to listen because I think there was the perception that people thought he hated Philadelphia. And here's his response to that. It was interesting what you said about Philadelphia, because I think the perception is that you hated it there.
No, I hated losing. I hated going there, and Ruben Amaro was handed a brand new Lamborghini, and the Lamborghini started falling apart. After Howard tore his Achilles, he was never the same. Utley, he couldn't play most of the time, first 2 or 3 years there. Man, it was just tough. Roy started going downhill. I really thought I was going there and winning a bunch of championships, and maybe I had my sights set a little bit too high.
Yeah.
But
well, first off, Pap looks great. Hair game was on point. But even before we saw that clip, I was just going to say, Pap didn't like losing. So that was the thing. It's like, and I can respect that in the sense of being like, hey, like, I don't like losing. I don't think it was that he didn't like Philly the city, because I mean, obviously he came from Boston, right? To where it's like, if it was going just as bad or whatever in Boston, fans are going to let you know about it. So I don't think it was anything like that. I think it was just a matter of, yeah, he doesn't like losing. Yeah, I mean, things didn't pan out the way that he thought or had wanted them to. So I mean, you can't. I can't speak for everybody else, but like, hey, for Pat, like, I don't blame you for being upset about not wanting to lose.
Was he a good teammate?
He was cool to me. Yeah, he was cool. I mean, in terms of like some of the stuff I saw with other guys, like, yeah, he was cool.
Because I asked him.
Mhm.
I said, "Do you think you were a good teammate?" He said,
I mean,
You'd have to ask the other guys." He goes, "But I
yeah,
just want."
my experiences with Pat were good. I can't speak to everybody else's experiences, but like mine were good. So I mean, yeah, I don't know really what else to say in terms of like what other guys might think, but I thought my experiences with Pat were pretty good.
How much do you watch the Phillies these days?
I'll check them out. I'm usually between here and here being Atlanta. I'll watch them or kind of like check out the Braves, check out a few games here and there. So yeah, I mean, I've kept up and been watching those guys.
Do you think that Bryce Harper's contract can only be deemed a success if they win it all?
I think that's what I feel like that's what the media and everybody's going to look at it as.
But what
how
hard it is to play there.
I mean, the thing is like, yeah, you brought Bryce in to help you do what? Try to help you win a championship. I mean, it takes more than just one guy to be able to do it. Bryce is going to do his thing. It's going to be about the rest of the, supporting cast. As long as Bryce can stay healthy and you can get the guys around him to be able to do what needs to be done and they can come together collectively as a squad, then yeah, I think that it's going to be deemed his contract, with as much as it is, will probably be deemed a failure if they don't win, because people will probably go out and say, oh, well, if they wouldn't have spent all this money on Bryce, they could have gone and got this and this and this and this, and they could have done whatever. It's, it's always, hindsight's always going to be 2020. So I think with the young core group of guys that are starting to kind of come together now, I think with Veerling, I think with Stott, I think Baum's starting to kind of come into his own.
Mm-hmm.
You start to put those guys together, you get the pitching staff together. I think Spencer Howard kid that was there, either whatever else you may have in the minor leagues, you got to get that core group, similar to kind of what we had with, Jimmy, Chase, myself, Cole, the guys that came from within the organization. And then you can play that Long John Silver add a piece here and there. I know that's been a while since you heard that one.
Sure is.
So, but yeah, I don't think it's fair to try to sit there and say like, well, yeah, it was a failure if they don't win a championship, because Bryce isn't showing up every day, every night, every year to say, hey, I'm just here so I can get paid and not win a championship.
I got a couple more things and I'll let you go back to your life here.
Yeah.
When did you know after that torn Achilles that it might not be the same?
I didn't. In my mind, I was always thinking I would be able to get back. I mean, once, like, we had a couple setbacks, because originally I was kind of doing in spring training. So I toured in November or October of 11, had surgery. And then by February of 12, I was doing kind of a decrepit run because I had my chiro docs down here, and I was doing kind of like rehab here in Atlanta. And it was same doc that had worked on T.O. After he had broken his ankle and was ready for Super Bowl. And so doing a decrepit kind of, Kirk Gibson-ish type 88 home run type run around the bases. And my wound wouldn't close properly. And I just remember like seeing Chase's face in like spring training. He looked at it and he like basically like threw up in his mouth. And I was like, yeah, that's probably not good. So wound up having to go back, get surgery again because I had to clean out the wound. And then we couldn't get it to close properly. So it took a while trying to figure out how to get it closed and do all that. And then rehab came, and I already have aerodynamic calves. So they, so my left calf was kind of like atrophied a little bit, but I never thought, that it wouldn't be able to get back to being the same. I don't necessarily credit my Achilles because my Achilles was fine. And then the following year it was my knee because I had to get my knee scoped, my left knee scoped. Looking back at it, I would say I don't really credit it to my Achilles or my knee. It's like I felt like I just got away from my approach, which was kind of staying that gap to gap, middle, center, right center, left field approach. Because the hitting, I could pivot, I could push and do all that stuff. It wasn't like I was going out there, going 30-30, stealing 30 bases. But I think looking back on it, it was just I lost my approach and just got kind of swallowed up in different things or whatnot, I guess. Hitting and then try to either do a little bit too much. Probably even came back a little bit too fast from the injury. But, and that's where I talk to guys who get hurt and I say, hey, bro, come back, make sure you're 110%, not 100%. Because I will say, like, I feel like I probably tried to come back a little bit too fast, but you just want to be out there, trying to contribute because I felt like me at 70% is better than a lot of guys at 100%. So, tried to push through that and then lost my approach. And then obviously like the shift and all that kind of stuff played a factor, kind of towards the end where it's looking like now they're about to get rid of the shift here. I told my wife that too. I was like, watch what happens. Like once I leave the game, they're going to probably look to get rid of the shift because they saw kind of what was happening with, some of the stars in the game and just the overall game itself. Because your boy did have some stolen bases back in the day. Davey Lopes needs more props because Davey got me 9 stolen bases back in the day.
12. Don't shortchange yourself.
Well, I had 9 in 2009.
Oh, you had 9 of your 12 stolen bases that year?
Yeah, with Davey. Oh, Davey was amazing because when Davey was on other teams and I'm playing first, and he would come up to the guy and he would say, hey, as soon as the pitcher does this, take off. And he just turn away and walk. He just turn and walk away. And I'm like, wait, he knows I'm standing here, right? Like what? Like I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Should I say something? Am I snitching? Like what? I'm confused. But he would come up and he would tell us that, like with as soon as he comes set, take off. I'm like, all right. So I would go and I mean, Davey was great. He was great that year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, I bet you I can make you smile. I mean, you're always smiling. Let's take
what do we got?
Let's take a look at home run number 1.
Oh, stop.
What do you remember about it?
We were down. It was a 2-run homer or what? I think it was like 2-1 or something like that. And I came in to pinch hit. And that year, 2004, I was like, I hit a few homers, so I know what it felt like. I was like, off the bat, you can see it, the little drop, shimmy shake over there. I was like, ooh, I got that. But then I looked and I saw Mike Cameron going back, and I was like, wait, is there something different? Are the balls different in the big leagues, or what is like Mike Cameron going to bring it back? Because I already had my first big league hit turn into a web gem for Andrew Jones, like where he threw out Jason Michaels at home plate. So I'm like, is this about to happen? And so I looked at Jimmy once I touched home plate because he was on deck circle, and I was like, I thought he was going to grab it. He's like, that dude wasn't even close. He's like, the ball was way out. So yeah, that was that was a fun time in New York.
Where's that ball?
Downstairs, going in my trophy room.
That away. That's
got
good.
it. Fortunato.
All right, we're going to spin the wheel of moderately interesting things. Yeah, don't worry. I'm not very smart, so the questions are very tough.
I love it.
Giving mood. Okay, I don't think we've had this.
Uh-oh. All right.
This is a good one. What was the last nice thing you bought someone?
The last Nice thing I bought someone. Man, what was it? I don't know. Maybe this
House?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, yeah. Probably say this house. I mean,
that's a solid answer, by the way.
I mean, house. Actually, I gave my daughter, like, she went out yesterday school shopping with my wife, and she came up and asked me for $20. So I gave her $20
okay, that's nice.
yesterday. Yeah. So
What'd she spend it on?
contributing.
Anything good?
She bought
Backpack?
some earrings and some little trinkets and some good stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, she got some stuff for her sisters as well. So
Now,
yeah.
that's
The gift that keeps on giving.
that is a win.
Yep. It starts out at 20 and then who knows where it goes from there.
Doesn't stop.
No.
You know that.
No. Yeah.
Listen, man, it was great catching up. I appreciate the time. I'm so happy we could do this and just see what you're doing with life, and still smiling. That part hasn't changed.
Man, got to, man. Got to. Got nothing to complain about. Nothing to complain about.
Best of luck with the crib. Best of luck to your son who's finishing up college. Best of luck to your little girls who are about to start school, and your wife in her lovely office.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the lights came on too, by the way.
It looks nice.
Thanks.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Subtle pink.
For our outstanding producer, the one and only Robbie Scirocco, our amazing summer intern, Alden Stone, who is off to college after this episode. That is the former league MVP and World Series champion, Ryan Howard. I am Chris Rose. We'll see you next time here on the Chris Rose Rotation, a production of John Boy Media.